Hey there, fellow adult collectors. Welcome back. David Eon here with another topic of discussion following up on yesterday's video where we talked about the slat wall system, and I demonstrated that here, and that is the system that we use to maximize our wall space and to keep the room opened up. It's modular, it adjusts to the collection, it's easy to dust, so on and so forth. So we had a lengthy discussion about that yesterday, and that came out of a discussion we had in one of our recent live streams. Now today I'm following up with a discussion about environmental control. Environmental control in your collection room, your man cave, your comic storage, whatever you got going on. Climate control is very important, very important. And right off, one of the main things that I'll mention is you can see that there is no windows present in this room. This is a basement bonus room that we converted for this purpose, and it extends out into the hallway. It's hard to see out there, but there's more of the collection in the outer hall there. No windows at all. So no sunlight, which means no ultraviolet light coming into the room. Maybe a little residual from the overhead lights, but when we are not here, it's blackout time and all the lights go off and it's pitch black. You can't see your hand in front of your face. That's very important. You do not want sunlight leaking in on your collection, whether you've got comics, whether you've got toys, action figures, autograph memorabilia, whether it's a collection like this or it's a man cave. And you've all seen it. Here's an example of what that does. This one's not too bad, but I've seen much worse. It's turned yellow. It's all split because when it turns yellow, it becomes brittle and it starts to crack and pieces fall off. That's the unfortunate reality of exposure to sunlight. So we're fortunate enough that our room is situated so that there are no windows. If you have a window in your room, I would suggest blacking that window out as much as possible. They have blackout curtains that you can buy that will completely darken the room out. And I would even go so far as to tape a plastic garbage bag over the inside of the window so that sunlight can't leak through even to the curtains. And that's an important part of environmental control. Another important part of environmental control, and this is where you have a problem with storage. If you rent a storage locker, absolutely make sure there's environmental control in the storage locker so that there is a constant temperature. I would also be very leery about keeping collections in attics, because it can get extremely hot in the attic, or in garages. That's another big no-no. Storage buildings, if you have storage buildings on your property, I recommend trying to get some kind of climate control involved. Basements as well, and this is a basement obviously, but it is climate controlled. You want consistent temperature because all things, no matter what it is that you have, whether it's comic books, whether they're slabbed or they're just bagged and boarded or loose, or you've got toys and action figures like you see here, or you collect vinyl records or whatever you've got, everything is subject to expansion and contraction. And that comes from heat and cold. Constant exposure to heat and cold will cause things to expand and contract. So again, I mean, a lot of people, they end up having to get a storage locker, make sure it's climate controlled, and make sure nothing is on the ground. I know she's doing some work over here, so she has some things stacked. My wife, this is her side, has a few things stacked on the ground while she makes adjustments. But you also might notice that everything else has a platform under it like this. You see a blue one over here. You see, if I pan over there quickly, there's a shelf there. There's a few inches. Everything primarily is off the floor. That's in case there's ever flooding. And that goes double for storage units. I have seen storage units flooded out. So get something that you can make a platform on the floor with, so that if it is flooded, it won't soak up into your boxes. I have seen that happen to people's collections. I knew a guy in Illinois that happened to, and everything on the bottom tier was destroyed from the water. Whatever you have to put on the bottom tier to prevent water from touching it, if it did flood in, at least 4 to 6 inches off the floor. Now, another thing for climate control, and this is really important, this is one of the biggest ones to me, a dehumidifier. And that's a high-sense dehumidifier that we're using. We have 2 of them, one here and one in the other room. I've shut it off for the video because it's loud. So when we do videos down here, we turn them off. Or if we're listening to music down here, because we spin vinyl, we turn it off because it's loud. When I'm done with the video, it goes right back on, and it runs 24/7. This is very important for environmental control. And especially in the summer months, both dehumidifiers get dumped at least every 24 hours because they will be full. It just absorbs moisture from all over, especially with the air circulating. You can see that again, environmental control, there's the vent on the ceiling for heat or cool air, depending upon what season it is. Moisture is going to circulate through the room, and it's not good for this stuff. It's not good for the toys, for the action figures, especially carded. It's not good for comic books. Oh, there's her Exo Squad comic. The only one, Topps issue 0, and they never followed through on the series. That was like a premiere issue, and they never finished it. But it's not good for comic books, not good for pulp, not good for if you collect autographs, whatever you got. Vinyl record covers, it's not good. The moisture. And I'm sure you've seen, for example, if you've ever gone to a toy show, even a comic show, I've seen this, where you can see a film of moisture on the inside of the top lip of the bags of bagged and boarded comics. And I've seen plenty of action figures, especially where there's moisture accumulated inside the package, usually at the top end of the blister, the top or the bottom corner of the blister, like right there. There's like a little cloud of moisture. That's really bad. And over time will cause problems. It'll cause, with the expansion and contraction, especially with moisture involved, cause that blister to loosen and fall away from the card. It can also cause mold. And I'm sure some of you have seen toys or action figures or comic books that have like little black spots inside. That's what does that. Another thing that this helps with a great deal, the dehumidifier, is dust control, because it filters the air at the same time. We actually don't have to dust very often. We don't. And it's partially due to the constant air circulation on account of the dehumidifier. Plus, there's a filter in there. Filter gets cleaned out of the side right there. So that's also a plus. And another big one with the dehumidifier, and I recommend this even if you have a collection room that's in like a spare bedroom in your house or wherever, I would set up a dehumidifier in there. It kills pests. So if any insects get in here, and we get the occasional spider or whatever manages to get down in here, most insects will die usually within 24 hours in an environment that's that dry. They have to have moisture in the air to survive. It will kill them. It's also really bad for rodents. If you have a rodent problem, dehumidifiers will drive them away. So the dehumidifier is great for keeping rodents and insects away from your collection areas as well. Just a few things to consider. A few things to consider for your man cave, for your collection room, for your collection storage area. Following up again on the previous video. So I hope that is helpful. If you have any questions or suggestions or any other comments, feel free to post them in the comment section down below. Please do. Give the video a thumbs up. If you got something out of it, I hope that you did. I hope that it's helpful. Share it if you can. Subscribe if you're new. All of that good stuff. And if that is it, then what more can I say? But thanks for watching. And we will see you again soon.